What's up guys, welcome back to Aspire's YouTube channel. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to walk you through step by step on how to build a one card crypto mining rig. So the parts that we're going to be using for today's build is the Gigabyte Aorus H370 Gaming 3 Wi-Fi motherboard. We've got our 1000 watt Antec power supply. We've got our CPU cooler, 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gig SSD, we've got our CPU, and then of course some thermal paste. And then for today's build, we've gone with the Gigabyte RTX 360. Okay, now that we have our motherboard out, first thing we're going to do is install our 4 gigs of RAM. So to do that, we're simply going to pull down on the notches over here at our RAM slot. We're going to get our RAM. And what we're going to do is we're going to line up our notches over here with the notches in the RAM slot. We're going to put it down gently until we hear a click. Just like that. Once our RAM is installed, we can go ahead and install our CPU. So to install our CPU, the first thing we're going to do is pull this lever over here. We're going to pull it out and up, and we'll see that our CPU shield has come up. So to install our CPU, what we're going to be doing is we're looking for a silver triangle on our CPU over there, and we're looking to match it up with a triangle on our motherboard. We're just simply going to drop our CPU into the socket, no need to push. We can let gravity do its thing and then just give it a little wiggle to make sure that it's in securely. Once that's done, you're going to pull down on your CPU shield and pull your arm back into place. And that's your CPU installed. So before we apply thermal paste and add our CPU cooler on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in our M.2 SSD. To do that, we're simply going to remove this heatsink over here, place our M.2 into the motherboard, and then tie it down with the heatsink again. So now that the SSD is installed, what we're going to be doing is adding some thermal paste to our CPU. So as you guys can see, we've applied some thermal paste to our CPU. What we're going to do next is add our CPU cooler. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our wire and we're simply going to plug it into the CPU fan header on the motherboard. Once that's in, we're going to look for the holes on the motherboard and we're going to line up our CPU cooler from the top. You can push down gently and you'll hear it lock into place. So now that we have our CPU fan installed, we have our motherboard complete, and now we can take this and transplant it into our frame. So as you guys can see, we have our standoffs installed into our frame already. So what we're going to do now is we're just simply going to put our motherboard onto our standoffs into the frame. Lining up the holes, and then just give it a gentle little push. Motherboard installed, we can now take our PSU and put it next to our motherboard. We have our components installed, we just simply need to do our cabling. So the first cable we're going to put in is our 24 pin. That's going to plug directly onto our motherboard. That. Next is going to be our 8-pin EPS. last cable will be our PCIe cable. Now that all our cabling is sorted, now we can install our GPU. All you're going to do is you're going to look for your PCIe slot over here on the motherboard. We're going to push down over here and then we can install. All you're looking to do is line up the notches with the notches on the motherboard. And now we can plug in our PCIe into our slot. And that's our mining rig complete. So now that our mining rig is fully completed, we can move it over to our monitor and get it powered up. So like I said, now that the rig is fully built, all we need to do now is power it on and actually get it mining. So as you guys can see, we're using NiceHash as our actual miner just for simplicity. And then if you come over here to the right, you'll see that we're using MSI Afterburner simply to measure our temperatures, to undervolt our card, and to overclock it to give it its best performance possible. If we come back to the left over here, we'll be able to see it's currently building up the database, and eventually we'll be able to see, there we go, 23.07 megahash on Raven Coin. So with that guys, that is our video today. If you have any questions about what we did today, please drop them in the comments. If you have any other ideas or what you guys might want to see in the future, please drop that in the comments as well. Thanks so much.